Young and the Restless. Victor prison-bound. Enemies drop damning proof of his crimes? Young and the Restless has Victor Newman, Eric Braden, engaged in criminal acts using the stolen AI program. And now some of his targets want to take him down. They want to have him prosecuted for these cyber crimes. And you know what? It might actually work. We're going to talk about how using the AI program that Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, stole and gave to him could see Victor headed to prison. Young and the Restless. Jack and Diane form their plans. This week, we've got Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, and Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, trying to figure out how to protect Jabot from Victor attacking them with the AI. At the same time that's going on, Phyllis has been cornered. And there is a dangling chance at a future if Phyllis will come clean about stealing it. So, Jack's planning to shut down the Jabot computer servers until they can protect themselves from the AI threat. But Diane and the other Abbotts are worrying. This could wreck Jabot for good. But if Victor launches the AI against them, that would also wreck Jabot. So either scenario is high risk. The Abbotts' desperate plan to expose Victor's high-tech crimes on Young and the Restless. Diane tells Jack, "You know what? You focus on a plan of defense. How to protect Jabot, work with the tech team, do all that." Meanwhile, Diane is going to go look for proof. She has to prove that Victor is engaged in cybercrimes by using this illegal AI program to hack into their company. Now, he's not done it yet. But Jack and Diane have to do something. And they have to do it fast. They want to know that they did everything in their power to save John Abbott's, Jerry Douglas, legacy from Victor. Right now, Diane is very intent on seeing Victor held criminally liable. And it looks like Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, is going to try and help her get that proof. And we all know he wants payback on Victor on Young and the Restless. So, later we had Diane and Jack running into Victor. And then Diane asks Victor, "Do you realize what you're doing is illegal and you could go to jail?" And of course, he just laughs right in Diane's face. And Victor says, "The accusations are baseless." But Diane is on a mission to prove it. Because it is 100% illegal. A league of enemies. Will a new alliance form to topple Victor Newman on YNR? She is pursuing this legal criminal route, looking for evidence. And I do suspect it may not be long before Victor's other enemies get on board with Diane and Jack. And Victor might really be facing some jail time soon. So, Jack and Diane have their plans mapped out. Jack's going to protect Jabot. Diane hunts down proof to bring Victor to justice. I'm wondering if others may want in on Diane's legal plan and they offer to help. Obviously, Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, hates Victor and he knows that the guy's coming for AbbottCom. We know that Phyllis hates Victor for the Marco Anicelli, also Peter Bergman, thing and a lot of ugliness over the years. Plus, there is hate for him for about to destroy Arabesque, and he won't let up even after a surrender. All the other Abbotts hate the guy. And let's be real, Victor is doing something blatantly illegal. So we could see that Diane, Jack, and others may team up and they all work together towards the common goal of stopping Victor and making him pay for what he's done. An ultimatum on Young and the Restless. Can a shocking confession from Phyllis be the key? While Diane and Jack are working against Victor, we think that there is probably a plan of its own in motion. So, this week, there is an attempt to get Phyllis to admit she stole the AI software and gave it to Victor in exchange for Jabot. And a very good argument is being made to start a new venture with Phyllis and build something with her personally and professionally. But it is said if Phyllis wants to be with him and build this future together, they have to start from a point of honesty. So it is said that Phyllis won't be punished for stealing the AI if she just admits it. At first, she's trying to keep lying. But when push comes to shove and Phyllis sees that she's about to lose her shot, it looks like Phyllis is finally going to come clean. From confession to conviction. The legal web closing in on Victor on YNR. The thing is, even if she confesses, there's a question of whether or not charges can be pressed on Phyllis for stealing the illegal program. We'll see. Maybe Phyllis is being recorded to get her confession and then with proof, the police or the FBI could be contacted, set up some kind of immunity deals. And that way they can work with law enforcement to bust Victor in the act. The AI was never used, so prosecution should be avoided. It could be said that the AI was developed and then once it was realized what it could do, it was decided not to do it. Phyllis is the first chain in the criminal actions, 'cause she stole the program. But she might be able to get immunity if she testifies that after she stole the dodgy AI program, She gave it to Victor and she knows he launched it against Arabesque and that he's planning on launching it against Jabot and Abbotcom. Phyllis knows this from Victor. She could even wear a wire and record him saying stuff, you know. Young and the Restless. Getting the FBI involved. They could go to the Genoa City Police. They've probably got a cyber unit, or the FBI Cyber Division, or the National Cyber Investigative Joint Task Force is a big thing. So law enforcement could actually be allowed into the Arabesque servers and they might be able to trace the AI back to Victor, or they could even plant some sort of defensive program into the Abbotcom or the Jabot servers. So when Victor launches his next AI attack, the feds could trace it back and nail him. That would be concrete proof, and it would be hard for Michael Baldwin, Christian Jules LeBlanc, to dig Victor out of that mess. Viewer outrage. Fans demand justice for Victor's unending winning streak on YNR. Here's what I see on Soap social media and what I read here in the comments. People are sick and tired of writer Josh Griffith always letting Victor win. He gets away with everything. He's been running amok for way too long. Plus, Victor's whole vendetta against Jack when all he did was save Nikki Newman's, Melody Thomas Scott. Life is honestly absolutely disgusting. Victor should have thanked Jack for risking his own life and his own sobriety to save Nikki, not be punishing him for it. And Nikki keeps enabling Victor and excusing his antics. Nikki knows that Victor's breaking the law using that AI. And so does Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, and anybody else in the family who knows that Victor is wielding this weapon. But they just keep cheering Victor on by saying that he deserves it. I mean, if he deserves it, then so does Victor. Young and the Restless needs a change. Maybe, just maybe between Jack and Diane and Phyllis, if they all work together and, put their differences aside. They can conspire and get the proof they need on Victor and not only thwart him. But they can save all of their companies and they can see the mustache knock down a few pegs. It would be refreshing if Josh Griffith actually wrote a plot where Victor didn't do these awful things and still get to win in the end. He does need to be brought to justice. He does need some sort of accountability. And he needs to be taken down a notch. But we'll see if it plays out that way or if it's reeling. The iron grip of Victor Newman, the mustache himself, appears to be slipping, and a looming threat of prison is sending shockwaves through Newman Enterprises, the Abbott dynasty, and every corner of the beloved town. For decades, Victor, Eric Braden, has operated with impunity, his vast wealth and power shielding him from the consequences of his most ruthless acts. But in a stunning high-stakes plot development, his oldest and most vengeful enemies are rumored to have banded together, securing irrefutable, damning proof of his past crimes. Evidence that could finally send the great Victor Newman behind bars. This is not a drill. This is the ultimate reckoning. A storyline that the Young and the Restless fans have been anticipating for decades. The man who always wins, who always finds a loophole, who is the law in his own mind, is now facing the biggest existential threat of his life. Collision: the unholy alliance. The foes who hold the keys to Victor's cell. For Victor to fall, it would take more than one disgruntled former employee or a single flimsy piece of evidence. It would require a coalition of the damaged, the betrayed, and the utterly ruthless. And according to insider sources, that is exactly what has happened. A chilling alliance has been forged, connecting figures from Victor's distant past with his more recent adversaries. 1. Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins, the Abbott Front. The rivalry between Victor and Jack, Peter Bergman, is the stuff of soap opera legend, a corporate and personal war that has spanned generations. While Jack's current focus is protecting Jabot from Victor's latest AI attack, stolen for Victor by none other than Phyllis Summers, the spoilers for the end of the week of December 1st to 5th, 2025, indicate that Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, and Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, are actively digging for dirt on Victor. This is not a simple business skirmish. This is a hunt for personal and criminal ammunition. Diane, with her own history of resurrection and deception, knows how to play the dangerous game. Her partnership with Kyle, who is furious over Victor's manipulative scheme involving Audra Charles, adds a layer of filial betrayal to the mix. The damning proof. Rumors suggest they have found concrete evidence linking Victor to financial manipulation from years past, perhaps involving a shell corporation used for an illegal offshore transfer or even a conspiracy to cover up an earlier scheme. This evidence could be tucked away in the deep, dark archives of Newman Enterprises, only accessible by someone with Kyle's insider knowledge and Diane's knack for subterfuge. 2. Matt Clark, the Ghost of Vengeance. The return of the supposedly deceased and utterly deranged Matt Clark, played by a recast or a dramatically revealed Mitch Bacall, is the linchpin of this shocking plot. Matt's history with Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, and the trauma he inflicted upon them is horrific. Victor's confrontation with Matt, which is set to explode this week, is driven by his need to protect his family, particularly Noah Newman, Rory Gibson, who is currently trapped in Matt's psychological and physical game. While Victor is focused on rescuing his grandson and putting down his enemy, the shocking twist is that Matt may not just be a threat to the Newmans' freedom, he may be the one with the ultimate insurance policy. The damning proof. What if Matt, in his twisted game, recorded Victor's various Black Ops plots over the years? Victor has a history of hiring hitmen, tampering with evidence, and ordering illicit actions. A recorded confession or a digital trail of Victor ordering a past crime, perhaps the one that led to his heart donor's death, or a conspiracy related to the Newman Ranch, could be what Matt plans to drop when Victor finally corners him. He intends to unleash hell on the Newmans, and destroying the patriarch by sending him to prison is the ultimate revenge. 3. Kane Ashby and the AI conspiracy. The advanced AI technology subplot is not just a corporate threat to Jabot. It's a criminal conspiracy masterminded by Victor and executed, in part, by Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, and Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford. Victor set a trap for Kane, but what if Kane, fearing he'd be left holding the bag, created a catastrophic countertrap? The damning proof. Kane could have a digital dead man switch, a trove of encrypted files detailing Victor's entire plot to steal and deploy the dangerous AI against the Abbotts. This isn't corporate espionage. This is attempted economic terrorism and grand larceny, a serious federal crime. If Kane is backed into a corner, he may release the files to save himself, sacrificing the mustache in the process. Classical building, the day of reckoning. The evidence is delivered. Imagine the scene. A classic Y&R gathering at the Genoa City Athletic Club or, more dramatically, a Newman Enterprises board meeting. The air is tense, the Newman family is fractured over Victor's constant power moves, and Jack Abbott is preparing his next corporate salvo. Suddenly, a news alert flashes across every TV screen and phone in the room. A digital media blitz, engineered by Diane and Kyle, or perhaps simply uploaded by a terrified Kane, sends shockwaves through the city. The evidence is a multi-layered attack. Audio recording, a chilling, clearly identifiable recording of Victor's voice, unearthed by Matt Clark's deep web contacts, detailing his plan to take someone out of the picture years ago. The voice is unmistakable. The intent is criminal. Encrypted data cache, a massive, unredacted data dump, the one Kane feared releasing, detailing the transfer of funds, the meetings, and the specific instructions from Victor to steal and weaponize the AI against Jabot. The paper trail is finally concrete. The testimony. The Alliance's final move involves a key witness. Perhaps an unhinged Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun, reeling from Matt's manipulation, is the one who spills the truth, giving the authorities a first-hand account of Victor's orders regarding the Matt Clark situation. Or perhaps an unlikely turncoat, an employee Victor thought loyal, comes forward with an immunity deal. Balance scale, the aftermath. The Newman family implodes. The moment the proof hits, the entire Newman family collapses into chaos. Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott Victor's ever-loyal wife, faces the ultimate dilemma. Does she stand by her man, potentially becoming an accessory, or does she finally acknowledge the destructive path he's on? Nikki has threatened to leave before, but watching her husband, the father of her children, be shackled and taken away might be the moment she decides to save herself. Her faith in Victor is rewarded with a secret from Jack this week, which could very well be a warning about the impending downfall. Nick and Sharon Newman, the couple who have been battling Matt Clark, are suddenly thrust into a dual role. Victims of a madman and witnesses to the grand conspiracy. Nick, who has always had a complicated relationship with his father, will be torn between protecting his family's name and ensuring his father faces justice for his monstrous acts, especially if those acts indirectly enabled Matt Clark. Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley. Victoria's lifelong ambition to run Newman Enterprises is finally within reach, but the price is her father's incarceration. Will she show a flicker of regret? A classic Y&R gathering at the Genoa City Athletic Club or, more dramatically, a Newman Enterprises board meeting. The air is tense, the Newman family is fractured over Victor's constant power moves, and Jack Abbott is preparing his next corporate salvo. Suddenly, a news alert flashes across every TV screen and phone in the room. A digital media blitz, engineered by Diane and Kyle, or perhaps simply uploaded by a terrified Kane, sends shockwaves through the city. The evidence is a multi-layered attack. Audio recording, a chilling, clearly identifiable recording of Victor's voice, unearthed by Matt Clark's deep web contacts, detailing his plan to take someone out of the picture years ago. The voice is unmistakable. The intent is criminal. Encrypted data cache. A massive, unredacted data dump, the one Kane feared releasing. Detailing the transfer of funds, the meetings, and the specific instructions from Victor to steal and weaponize the AI against Jabot. The paper trail is finally concrete. The testimony. The Alliance's final move involves a key witness. Perhaps an unhinged Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun, reeling from Matt's manipulation, is the one who spills the truth, giving the authorities a first-hand account of Victor's orders regarding the Matt Clark situation. Or perhaps an unlikely turncoat, an employee Victor thought loyal, comes forward with an immunity deal. Balance scale, the aftermath. The Newman family implodes. The moment the proof hits, the entire Newman family collapses into chaos. Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott Victor's ever-loyal wife, faces the ultimate dilemma. Does she stand by her man, potentially becoming an accessory, or does she finally acknowledge the destructive path he's on? Nikki has threatened to leave before, but watching her husband, the father of her children, be shackled and taken away might be the moment she decides to save herself. Her faith in Victor is rewarded with a secret from Jack this week, which could very well be a warning about the impending downfall. Nick and Sharon Newman, the couple who have been battling Matt Clark, are suddenly thrust into a dual role. Victims of a madman and witnesses to the grand conspiracy. Nick, who has always had a complicated relationship with his father, will be torn between protecting his family's name and ensuring his father faces justice for his monstrous acts, especially if those acts indirectly enabled Matt Clark. Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley. Victoria's lifelong ambition to run Newman Enterprises is finally within reach, but the price is her father's incarceration. Will she show a flicker of regret, or will her ruthless Newman side take over as she swoops in to protect the company's assets? Her relationship with her mother, Nikki, will be severely tested as they navigate the corporate fallout. Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, the perennial black sheep, Adam, will find a twisted sense of vindication. His father's fall is the ultimate "I told you so," yet it also removes the one person Adam truly yearns to please. The question remains, will Adam seize the power vacuum to finally take the CEO chair, or will he, in a moment of unexpected filial duty, work to save his father? Chains, the final twist. Victor's escape route? This is The Young and the Restless. The mustache will not go quietly. Even as the police cars descend upon the Newman ranch, a scene of high drama that will captivate viewers worldwide. Victor will be plotting. The immunity chip. Victor has a file, a secret, or a piece of leverage on a key political figure or a district attorney. His whole life has been a game of chess, and he always has a move ready. The final shocking twist could be Victor, momentarily defeated, giving up a piece of information that not only saves his own skin but takes down a bigger Genoa City villain, perhaps Kane, or an unseen partner of Matt Clark. The prison stint. Or perhaps, Victor actually goes to prison. Not for long, but long enough to remind the audience that even the great Victor Newman is not untouchable. A dramatic one-week stint in a federal holding cell, complete with him holding court with the guards and striking up an alliance with a hardened criminal, would be the ultimate power move. Fountain pen. Conclusion. The end of an era. The December 2025 spoilers have set the stage for one of the most explosive, career-defining storylines in The Young and the Restless history. Victor Newman is not just facing an enemy. He's facing a unified front of his greatest mistakes, his deepest betrayals, and his most unforgiving foes. The undeniable evidence is out, the handcuffs are on the way, and Genoa City is holding its breath. Will Victor's sheer force of will be enough to dismantle this unholy alliance? Will his beloved Newman family survive the fallout of his ultimate crime being exposed? The most powerful man in Genoa City is on the verge of losing everything, and the only question left is, will he finally pay the price? This week promises to be a legendary turning point. Don't you dare miss an episode. Genoa City is at a critical crossroads. While The Young and the Restless continues to deliver moments of classic soap opera drama, a pervasive sense of story stagnation and controversial creative choices is causing fan frustration to boil over. The latest shocking events, Victor's desperate rush to Los Angeles to save his family from the returning villain Matt Clark, and Jack's drastic measures to protect Jabot from Victor's corporate war, highlight the show's over-reliance on old tropes and demand an immediate, fundamental change in direction. The drama is intense, but are we watching the same stories repackaged for the 100th time? The Matt Clark crisis. An old villain on a stale loop. The return of Matt Clark, a villain who has tormented the Newmans for years, is the prime example of the show's current rut. While the storyline is designed to be high stakes, with Matt forcing Noah's hand and backing Nick and Sharon into a corner, it ultimately feels like a replay of past traumas. The Victor Newman safety net. Every crisis involving the Newman family eventually leads to Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, stepping in to clean up the mess. While his bold move rocks LA, promises a climactic showdown, it minimizes the agency of the younger generation, specifically Nick and Sharon, who are capable of handling threats themselves. The constant return to the Victor saves the day formula dampens the long-term impact of any villain. Lack of new foes. The show needs to develop new contemporary adversaries for the younger set. Characters whose motives aren't purely rooted in decades-old grudges against Victor. The current cycle reuses the same old enemies, from Ian Ward and Jordan Howard, both of whom had recent, dramatic exits, to now Matt Clark, preventing genuine character development for the new generation. The true shock would be to see Matt Clark outmaneuver Victor, forcing the entire Newman clan, not just its patriarch, to forge a new path forward. Broken Heart: The Woeful State of Genoa City Romances. A core element of any successful soap opera is compelling romance. But recent fan sentiment indicates that YNR's current pairings are among the worst of 2025. This is where the most significant changes are needed. To see Matt Clark outmaneuver Victor, forcing the entire Newman clan, not just its patriarch, to forge a new path forward. Broken Heart: The Woeful State of Genoa City Romances. A core element of any successful soap opera is compelling romance. But recent fan sentiment indicates that YNR's current pairings are among the worst of 2025. This is where the most significant changes are needed. Controversial and toxic pairings. Viewers have voiced strong discontent with couplings like Daniel Romalotti and Tessa Porter, threatening the stability of Mariah and Tessa's marriage, Nate Hastings and Audra Charles, a relationship built on lies and manipulation, and the continued snooze fest that is Chelsea Lawson and Adam Newman. The Kane, Phyllis, Lily triangle. The rivalry between Phyllis Summers and Lily Winters over Kane Ashby is another example of a story relying on tired tropes. Kane's recent concession to Victor and his choice of Phyllis, I choose you, feels less like genuine romance and more like a convoluted business/revenge plot, especially with Phyllis's alleged involvement in stealing his AI program. This triangle lacks the passion and fire of classic YNR love stories, leaving fans indifferent or frustrated. The missing chemistry. A successful romance shouldn't require a constant cycle of betrayals to sustain interest. The show needs to invest in relationships with genuine, believable chemistry that viewers can root for, whether they are legacy pairings or new couples. The fix. The head writer must address the complaints regarding the lackluster, toxic, and repetitive love stories. Instead of forcing pairings based on plot convenience, the focus should shift to exploring the depth and reality of modern relationships, including the complexities of same-sex pairings and non-traditional family structures. Briefcase corporate warfare. When feuds outlive their purpose. The battle between the Newman and Abbott families, specifically between Victor and Jack Abbott, is the bedrock of YNR. However, the current corporate battle, involving stolen AI, Jack considering a Jabot shutdown, and Diane and Kyle digging for dirt on Victor, feels like a high-stakes yet ultimately predictable continuation of a decades-long loop. The Jabot crisis. Jack's bold move to protect his family's legacy is understandable, but the perpetual cycle of one company trying to destroy the other has become monotonous. The show needs to find a new motivation for this rivalry beyond the simple quest for corporate dominance. Empowerment of the young. The real action should be with the new generation. Victoria Newman, Adam Newman, Devin Hamilton, and Kyle Abbott are all seasoned business titans. A shocking and engaging change would be to have them form an unexpected, temporary alliance, a young guard, to break free from the controlling influence of Victor and Jack, thereby rewriting the rules of Genoa City's business world. This would introduce new corporate threats and creative storylines that don't always end with Victor and Jack shaking hands or plotting from their respective offices. Door cast changes and new blood. The 2025 exits. The show has already seen significant cast changes in 2025, which, while providing opportunities, also highlights a need for more strategic casting decisions. Departures. The exits of Ray Wise, Ian Ward, Colleen Zenk, Jordan Howard, Lyndon Ashby, Cameron Kirsten, and Allison Lanier, Summer Newman, mark the end of major storylines and characters. These departures should create space for a genuine influx of new talent and storylines, not just placeholders. Returning faces. The returns of Miss Hale Morgan, Amanda Sinclair, and Connor Floyd, Chance Chancellor, though his upcoming exit for Days of Our Lives casts a shadow, provide brief sparks of excitement, but the show needs to leverage these actors in forward-looking plots. Amanda's return should move beyond Devon Abbey drama and establish her as a formidable force on her own. The call for a new generation of stars. The focus needs to shift decisively to the young in The Young and the Restless. Characters like Audra Charles, Claire Grace, Noah Newman, and Nate Hastings should be given central, compelling storylines that do not directly revolve around their parents or Victor's schemes. They need original adversaries, original romances, and original business ventures. Crystal ball the urgent need for creative reset. To shock and engage the audience for the long haul, The Young and the Restless must execute a decisive creative reset. Resolve lingering plots decisively. The dragged-out mysteries, such as the full truth behind Holden and Audra's LA secret and Kane finding proof of Phyllis's AI theft, must be brought to a satisfying, shocking conclusion. The longer these plots languish, the more incompetent key characters appear. Introduce genuine stakes. The show's habit of resurrecting dead villains or finding convenient loopholes for characters must end. When a character faces danger, the threat must feel real, creating genuine lasting consequences that reshape Genoa city life. Modernize storytelling. The pace needs to accelerate. While soaps thrive on slower burns, the current audience demands faster, more complex, and more layered storytelling, including a better balance of power, love, and suspense. The show is currently resting on the laurels of its iconic characters and a familiar, yet increasingly tired, formula. The current shocking news is the immediate need for a true and lasting change that honors the show's legacy while bravely forging a bold, new future for Genoa City.